Okay, I just wanted to go over something real quick. I have on my Android these short little lists to remind me uh, if I'm taking a certain approach. Let's say I've deciphered that I'm working on an infection. I will go to this antimicrobial quick cheat sheet checklist, and the key in all this is if you can learn how to use a pendulum, you can ask. In this moment, I have an infection, but what therapy do I need? We have some videos on how to use a pendulum. If you don't believe in this, then you're going to be thinking and using your mind, which is not a very good tool. So, can you trust your intuition? Can you dial into your intuition and link it with a pragmatic wisdom? Now, all these charts are based on years and years of study. There's so many dimensions to healing. So, number one, you need to have a model of healing. You need to understand what you're working at. Let's say you're going naturopathic kind of thinking. You're going to be thinking about detoxifying the body, cleansing, cleaning the colon. If you're going Chinese medicine, you're going to think about moving energy. Move the energy, move the energy, chi stagnation. I always give the example of Chinese medicine 101. What's the difference between a swamp and a mountain stream? They're both water. That's Chinese medicine in a nutshell. Ayurvedic medicine, the balancing of the water element, the fire element, the earth element. Everybody knows from COVID that if you have excessive fire, you die. That's called inflammation, aka the cytokine storm. So let's say you are working on inflammation. I have an inflammation chart here. Let's say you have an infection, you're overly inflamed. This is an inflammation checklist. But which one do you need in the moment? You don't know. You've gathered up this list. Now, which one? Again, you're going to have to find a way to trust. Once you have the sort of done the legwork of understanding all the different possibilities, the tools, configured your understanding of your body, your mind, which is asking a lot, you want to dial in, you got to have a way to ask. So these are checklists for me to use my pendulum and ask, what do I need right now? I'm always surprised, but it always makes sense in the end what it leads me to. Now, let's say you have a headache. The causes of a headache could be constriction in the vertebral vertebra, microcirculation blockage, toxicity. You could have even something directly in the brain, an infection, or you have toxins in the gut brain. It could be hormonal. It could be just fatigue, anxiety, etc., etc. Nutritional deficiencies. You know, when you get out there in the big bad world of holistic medicine, whoever you run up against is going to try to preach their particular angle because they make money preaching that. So you could go to 20 practitioners, you could go to 20 websites. You know, one guy will preach maybe hormones or iodine, let's say, in the thyroid, or somebody will be preaching a more neurochemistry point of view. So it's endless and endless. And not that anybody's right or wrong, it's just, it's very dynamic. So it's very important to have a way to kind of drill down. Now, I always start with trying to let go, Ho'oponopono, clean the subconscious mind. In pragmatic terms, if you have a computer that's running sluggish and you got viruses, get rid of the viruses. The human mind has very, very traumatic, nuanced memories that need to be cleaned. How you do it, I can give live examples of what I call trauma release work, which spontaneously allows these memories to show up. In other words, it's a backdoor technique for dealing with 10,000 memories at once. There's so many memories playing in the subconscious mind, you have no clue. So you really can't identify per se, you know, a given memory. You can get to some linchpin memories. You can intuitively survey your subconscious and have an intuitive cleansing practice, which is what I've learned. So you need to be the skilled virus cleaner for your computer, and you cannot normally do that. You need a utility like Norton or McAfee to do it because they have developed the way to detect. You can do that as a human. You need to get out of the mind and have what I call alternative non-mind techniques, intuitive techniques that identify the limited trauma memories. They really are not, in a sense, true because they're not you in a liberated state. They're you having been constricted, and then you fall into belief systems, and then you become more energetically constricted, and that contributes to illness. But anyhow, that's a whole nother discussion. But you need a vision quest for healing, and energy constriction is definitely going to create toxicity. Like, this is the Chinese model. So now you need to figure out the mystery of how to clean the subconscious. Okay, but I just want to emphasize that this is a nice little, once, given the level of understanding and what you're working on, what tools you've gathered, you want to organize them into lists and then be able to kind of look at the list and say, well, even if you just look and say, well, what do I think? Where do I need to go now? Do I need to go to brain circulation? Now, by the way, neck has historically had some, if you're looking at an x-ray, it's a mess. It's totally clear right now because I've done pretty good spiritual work the past few days. And by the way, that can come and go. You can get stuck. You might not have a breakthrough. Then, the body's going to back up. It's going to jam up, and it's calling you to say, do more work. Obviously, there are high-level yogis, by the way, just to emphasize this, who can expose themselves to some pretty serious toxins and nothing happens. And Wim Hof, by the way, proved this with his cold therapy. He exposed the students to some pathogen and nobody got sick. So if you can learn to manipulate yourself at a deep, deep level, and when I say manipulate, I should say actuate yourself from a higher state of consciousness or a more intelligent state of consciousness, spiritually speaking, it affects the physical. So it's always a back and forth conversation between the mind, the body, and the self-ignorance of the mind trying to get itself free. The body is actually a great exclamation point for that blockage, and it's saying, please pay attention. And it's really calling you to action. So even though we suffer in the body, it's actually spiritually quite the gift. Okay, so if you have any questions, please contact me, Andrew@BelusiWater.com. Thank you.